All right, peace and blessings, everybody. It's Sunday, July the 29th, the year 2018. David Hinkson has sent me a letter, which is an open public letter to Sean Hannity. So I told him I would read that into YouTube and Facebook, and we'll do that. But I wanted to share with you guys before I get into reading of it that there's been a recent Go Get Funding website set up to help David with his commissary and legal defense. And so the funds go to his trusted friend, Dr. Guy Wilson, and David said that was completely okay, so we helped set that up, and then everything goes to Dr. Guy Wilson, who handles the funds. So if you feel inclined to help David Hinkson, you can certainly do that. Another option is you simply use Western Union, and you can send money directly to David's commissary via Western Union. But I can tell you that David is always in need of commissary funds as well as legal defense funds. At one time, David was a very wealthy man, but they've taken everything he's got, and he's struggling right now. So anyway, just keep that in mind. And here's the letter. I'm going to go ahead and read it, and it's from David Hinkson to Sean Hannity. It's written, I received it anyway today on July the 29th. I don't know when he wrote it. He probably wrote it in the last few days. Dear Mr. Hannity, the reason that you should now read my letter in its entirety is that I will tell you about the real Galt motor that we now have actually working and can actually see it violating the Lens law on YouTube. I also have some business proposals to cover at the end of this letter. I apologize for the length of this letter. Also, I saw you in the movie Atlas Shrugged, and I wanted to tell you that I thought you did a great job. I heard that you are also a Randite, so I assume you are. Therefore, I believe that, like me, you overall liked the concepts of the late Ayn Rand. Note here that the word GALT is now our real acronym. G equals geometrically, A equals amplified, L equals lateral, T equals toroid. Geometrically amplified lateral toroid. Note that Nikola Tesla originally named his transformer the toroid. Toroid is therefore the correct name that was supposed to have been used. I have wanted to tell you about my 7 different energy inventions and offer them for your preview for over 10 years. But up to this point in time, I have not been able to reach you or even get your attention as I'm in prison. Therefore, I now reach out to you again. I did speak on the John Wells show last month, and he likes my ideas. My close friend, the late Bob Sandberg, forwarded emails to you in the past, but you never responded. Now Bob has died, and my new friend Rudy has told me that he will forward this letter to you. I don't want to go into much detail here as to why I'm in prison, but you need to know that if you have any questions, Rudy has a website, Lone Star 1776, that highlights my whole story. Let me interject here. We do have all of David Hinkson's videos on Lone Star 1776, but if you go to yearofjubilee.com, Jubilee is spelled with 1 E, just like it is in the King James Bible, we have an entire page on David Hinkson. And I would recommend watching the video titled Cesspool of Judicial Corruption. And I would also recommend listening to the 2-hour interview we did with David Hinkson's father. And we talk about the reasons why David Hinkson is the most provably innocent political prisoner in America. So let me continue to read David's letter. That highlights my whole story, and even a book about me that my father wrote. The title of the book that his father wrote is Cesspool of Judicial Corruption. It's 374 pages. At this time, I just wanted to tell you that I'm a provably innocent political prisoner who was denied all evidence of innocence. For example, my passport showed that I was in Russia and the Ukraine, and the witness who lied against me was actually in a coma in the VA hospital when he said I hired him to kill federal officials. They hid my passport and his medical records, and they are all still hiding these items as I write you this letter. This lying witness was later actually prosecuted for stolen valor and theft of government property, as he had claimed was Rambo and a Korean War veteran. He now stands convicted of the very same testimony that he used against me in court, and the U.S. Supreme Court has now ruled that The U.S. Supreme Court has now ruled that it is okay to wear a Purple Heart as long as you don't economically hurt anybody in the process. Overall, his provable lies gave me a sentence of death by time. By the way, just let me insert, his name is Elvin Joe Swisher, and Megyn Kelly on Fox News called him out and shamed him nationally. We have the news clip where Megyn Kelly called out the lying witness of Elvin Joe Swisher. Overall, his provable lies gave me a sentence of death by time. Up to this time, the Ninth Circuit has wrongfully ruled against me every step of the way, and some of the very same judges that ruled against President Trump's travel ban created a whole new legal standard that they now call the Hinkson standard, just for me, as I'm very special. Now, let me just stop there. What he said is absolutely true. He's not being braggadocious or arrogant. They created a special piece of legislation called the Hinkson Standard specifically for David Hinkson to keep him in prison. Note, the creation of a new legal standard violated the ex post facto doctrine of the Constitution, as only the U.S. Supreme Court has the right to create or amend any legal standard. Note, now that under 2 U.S. Supreme Court cases referred to as the Johnson and DeMaya cases, the Ninth Circuit will now have to release me, as these new court rulings have now made all of my supposed crimes that I did not do not crimes of violence, and that means they now must unstack 6 stacked sentences into just one. Therefore, my successive 2255 is now pending in the Ninth Circuit, and the same judges that did this to me now have to make a decision again, but they truly are corrupt, as they make wrongful law from the bench, and have shown that they have no intention of following the Constitution or even common decency. They really are guilty of kidnapping and attempted murder against me. I only needed to tell you a little bit about my past history so that you would understand that I actually know some physics and science past history. When I was 16 years old, I attempted to join the U.S. Navy in Montrose, Colorado. I was told that if I got my GED first and scored high enough on the aptitude test, I could join when I turned 17. I therefore went to Western State College in Gunnison and passed my GED, and then I took a series of aptitude tests. I scored over 98% in both physics and science, and this showed that I had a fairly good understanding of those subjects. I later went to the Jet Mechanic School in Millington, Tennessee. I ended up being stationed at HSL-30 Norfolk, Virginia, in a squadron that was assigned to look for Russian and Chinese submarines. At this time, I studied all of the magnetic anti-submarine warfare concepts. At this time, I walked into the GE trailer on this base as I wanted to explain my new idea for a magnetic motor. These technicians just laughed at me. After getting out of the Navy, I went to college at the University of Colorado and studied finance. I then became a real estate broker. At this time, I also ran a board and care home for the mentally ill. I finally sold all of my properties in Colorado and moved to Las Vegas in 1986. In 1993, I ended up owning 3 laundry and dry cleaning plants in Las Vegas, and I actually got accounts to wash bed spreads for most of the casinos on the Strip. My specialty at that time was using chemicals in a new way to remove stains that no one else could remove. I guess you could say I became an expert in using chemicals for this purpose. I also became friends with the late Lou Epton. Lou had a great talk show in Las Vegas. I used to go to Lou's radio show. I used to go to Lou's radio studio in the Vegas World Casino, and I ended up being his co-host for 4 years. It became the Lou Epton and David Hinkson show. Lou introduced me to Aaron Russo, famous movie director. I later acted as Aaron's campaign manager when he ran for the Senate against Harry Reid. Lou and I used to really go after Harry Reid every chance we got. I even exposed the tortoise scheme that Harry was conducting to steal future off-ramps. We ambushed Harry twice live on the air. Harry Reid is a criminal, and he really does not like me. I used to listen to Art Bell on the radio as I worked late, and in 1993, while doing some laundry out in the Nevada desert, I glued some magnets, used auto bondo, on some round aluminum disc as I built and tested my own version concept of this new electric magnetic motor. I actually got the rotor to create over 1 horsepower from the magnets. At this time, I could see that I was actually violating the laws of thermodynamics and Lenz's law. Note that every college and university and every book of physics in the world now teaches that this is totally impossible. But the one thing that you must remember is that Nikola Tesla never had access to any of the magnets that are available today. In fact, it was not until the early 1988s that these new magnets became available. This is why the early cell phones were called brick phones, as they were very thick, and the reason they were thick was because the magnets in the speakers were thick. Now they are about as thin as a piece of paper. I therefore tested 5 other energy devices and made them all work. I would love to tell you about all of them if you have some interest in hearing about them. But note here that they will all seem impossible, as that is what I do. I get what is deemed to be impossible to actually work. For example, one of my favorite inventions I named the electric jet engine. It makes its own electricity as it runs using the standard rule called the right-hand rule. This is the concept that is used in the car starters today. In 1989, I started doing my own talk show on the WWCR, Worldwide Christian Radio Network, but the problem at this time was that I had no way to pay the $10,000 a month airtime. So I had an idea for a new type of silver water that I could sell to raise these funds. I moved forward making the silver water. My idea was to create an plastic pod that had silver bars in the bottom area and had platinum-coated niobium screen in the top area, and then use high voltage to run the current in reverse of the normal process. I was really trying to make a new clear silver product that had particles that were smaller and better than the competition. At this time, I also built the same pods to make colloidal copper and gold. This whole scheme went south when I discovered that you cannot use electricity to make a silver or any health product, as they are toxic and heavy metal. But something interesting came out of these tests. I was able to heat 1,400 gallons of distilled water to boiling using only 0.000001 watts of electrical energy. I had, in fact, designed a working cold fusion reactor. Therefore, I now stopped testing cold fusion and proceeded to use chemicals to make the copper and silver waters instead of using electricity. At this time, I created a new company called Water Oz. We made a variety of these mineral waters and collected thousands of testimonials. We also manufactured thousands of ozone machines and sold them on the air. I knew that silver is known to kill all but nitrogen-breathing pathogens. Let me read that again. I knew that silver is known to kill all nitrogen-breathing pathogens, but I learned that silver does not cross the blood-brain barrier and cannot stain the tissue, causing a disease known as angeria. I, at this time, no longer believe that consuming a silver product is effective in dealing with these nitrogen-breathing pathogens. That is when it got a little bit interesting, as I discovered that copper water would actually replace silver water and could be made totally non-toxic. Note here that consuming heavy metal copper can cause a disease called Wilson's disease. So making a new non-toxic copper product would be really very interesting. Copper totally kills all nitrogen-breathing pathogens, viruses, and all parasites, including the brain-eating amoeba, as it actually crosses the blood-brain barrier and even helps the liver as a coenzyme to digest proteins. Then I learned that some diseases are actually caused by the liver not being able to properly digest proteins. We have not at this time finished doing these tests, but we are looking for people who have this condition, as we would like to finish these tests. During these past clinical trials, I never had any idea that copper might be a new treatment to abate cancer. Now, as we have been making it available to a few cancer patients, we have been having 100% results removing cancers. This is a very important concept, as copper will go everywhere through the entire body system where there is moisture, and this means that we might have a new way to deal with cancers that are impossible to reach or deal with, like eye cancer or lung cancers. Therefore, these minerals and my overall mineral concepts have been tested and now have been sold all over the world for over 25 years. We have never had any complaint filed against us. Now, you can go to YouTube and type in Galt generator, pick the fourth one down. to actually see our newest motor test. We will have a better picture showing it working soon. So I have many ideas that you might be interested in. In the past, I used to give Lou a percentage of all the bottles that were sold on his show, as this was very easy to track. For example, you can use a promo code. These generated funds amounted a very large amount of money being generated, as there is a good profit margin in making health food supplements. One of the reasons for my success was that I would bring the price down below any competition in the marketplace. We need to have a better mousetrap. I also don't mind sharing the income ongoing, as I feel it is only fair to share the proceeds with the show ongoing to show support. To just pick a show clean and move on is not the way that I want to do business. I want to be a supporter and support an ongoing business relationship while we actually help people. So I have many ideas. These ideas are really interesting, as you and I share in many of the same beliefs and concepts. New ideas. In the past, I used to offer a free product, like a bottle of copper water, and then would ship out about 50,000 bottles, only charge $1 for handling and $1 for postage. Then about 25% of the people would just place an order for a $24 bottle, and the others would place an order after they actually tested the product. I like to ship enough of a product for free so they will actually be able to have the results that will really get them on board. Like, for example, if they consume about 1 ounce of the copper at 6,400 parts per million, it will remove the common cold and even AIDS and malaria in 2 hours. That is a test that really gets them on board. So overnight, we would end up with literally $1 million a month being earned every month thereafter. Now, you might understand that I do not mind paying for advertising. I liked marketing the health food supplement products, as they really helped people, and people would also keep ordering them every month, and this would generate the funds needed for expansion. Note that the Water Oz Zinc product 100% stops all sexual replication of all viruses in only 15 minutes. This testing was originally done by Larry Wayne Harris at the CDC. This concept can cause the flu symptoms to actually freeze and not get worse. So it is now be possible to use the zinc product over 12 days to actually remove all viruses, as they can no longer replicate on their own. And after just 10 days, they will die of old age after 30 days. Therefore, sending out free samples of this product really might not give us the great results in 10 minutes that we need. So it would not be our first priority to give it away at first. I learned and have written about the fact that calcium carbonate is not a calcium that can be used by mammals. In fact, it builds up and causes bone spurs and kidney stones. Now, if we send out a 4-ounce bottle of real calcium metal water and just 1 dosage is consumed, this calcium can absorb and neutralize most of the acidic crystalline neurotoxins that actually cause the flu symptoms that are secreted by the pathogens. What this means is that if we sent out a free sample and it is consumed, it will remove or abate flu symptoms in about 2 hours, and this is a great way of getting people to come on board. I learned that the element indium, when made into a non-toxic health food supplement, can balance the pituitary and will give you a very dramatic and real feeling of euphoric happiness in about 20 minutes. One overweight woman consumed some and was able to not eat a meal for 6 days. And during this period of time, she never got hungry or even dizzy, as the fat just burned off. So this is a great diet product for overweight people. Therefore, this would be a good product to send out as a free sample to millions of people. So these are some of my ideas to be used in the future to move forward with these mineral concepts. I would use a small PET container and use the regular mail to reach millions of people. I have had many ideas for different crowdfunding projects. I can remember when Glenn Beck told the people about a woman who had protesters standing out in front of her pizza place. Then $750,000 showed up in her crowdfunding account within 24 hours. People just gave $1 to show support, and it added up to a very large amount. I had the idea of creating a new company called the Green Conservancy. Therefore, we already created it. Our mission statement for this corporation is to save Mother Earth by removing the use of fossil fuels everywhere. In essence, I want to seize the global warming agenda and make it our new and personal movement, even though this movement is based on a totally fraudulent science. we have the GALT, G-A-L-T, geometrically amplified lateral toroid. Now, I have read a book called Bitcoin for Dummies. In this book, they talked about different people giving out a free token as a Bitcoin. If they donate a small amount to someone's crowdfunding project, and they were able to raise literally $150 million like an ICO offering, therefore I had the idea of doing a crowdfunding project where we issue our own Green Conservancy Bitcoins that could now be backed by the fact that we will let them redeem them back to us in just 1 year for twice the face value, or donated value, to be paid directly to the utility company of their choice towards their energy bill. Now, we would have given our token offering a future value, especially if we succeed in our venture. But in my opinion, if we succeed, no one would really want to redeem these coins back, as these tokens would now start to have more value in the marketplace. Then we are promising to give back. So we would, in all reality, be helping to create a new monetary money supply that is actually backed by something of real value, while we raise the needed funds to build our factory and buy the equipment that we need to move forward. If I was on the street, I really would not need any help from anybody. But as I am a political prisoner in prison, I really could use some help getting these projects moving. There is plenty of money to be earned in the field of energy and medicine. For example, if we were to build a GALT that has only a 2-foot rotor in it, we would generate over $250,000 per month at 0.05 per kilowatt hour, and our total cost to construct a unit of this size is approximately $6,000. Our overall Green Conservancy mission statement is to lower the cost of energy, to economically help every country to create millions of jobs, of good jobs, and to stop the burning fossil fuels and to protect the grid from EMP and or CME. If a show like yours were to endorse any one of our crowdfunding projects, millions of people would just pitch in $1, and we would raise the needed funds to move forward very fast. Then, of course, I would be willing to sign and agree to give your organization a permanent percentage of the income to your show for advertising. The standard fee schedule for a crowdfunding expert is about 10% of the gross that is collected in an offering. Therefore, if we were to agree to a flat 10% of the crowdfunding and an extra 10% to pay for advertising, the amount that would be paid to your network would be a large ongoing sum. I even had the idea of placing some of the GALTs at different radio stations to pay for airtime. The GALT is great, as every month they have to pay us for the energy. Therefore, if we have a contract to share in the proceeds, this would be great for all parties concerned. I have already talked to a couple of interested utility companies and 2 different reservation chiefs about entering into a cogeneration contract to share in the monthly energy income. The bottom line is that this is an easy sell, and everybody that hears about it is immediately interested. They actually get very excited. I like talking about things that sell themselves. Anyway, the GALT motor can be used to actually harden and protect the grid, lower the overall cost of energy to the consumer, and provide green energy without the use of any fossil fuels, and create millions of green jobs. I have heard you offer to help people get employment in the oil boom, as you seem interested in helping your audience with these kind of concepts. I would like to now even offer some people who donate to our Green Conservancy a cogeneration contract, whereas we share in the income in the near future. Maybe they can even provide a location. Our overall mission statement is not to sell GALT generators, but to sell the energy that this would earn us a monthly amount. We will use the large cash flow to keep our expansion plans in high gear. We have a whole world to make green. Therefore, GALT motor and the electric jet engine both can be used to replace all of the internal combustion engines that are in existence everywhere in the world, in every application. Note that the electric jet engine would replace the currently used jet engine totally, and between these 2 inventions, mankind would no longer have any need mankind would no longer have any need for nuclear energy. We will help shut down all of the nuclear reactors everywhere in the world, including Japan. One of my plans when I get released is to build a series of conversion centers everywhere in the world. These conversion centers will be created for the purpose of remanufacturing all of the cars, boats, and trucks in the entire world into being totally green with our new green technology. As it will just bolt up to a standard transmission, we could run ads on your show like the ads for Cars for Kids and or Heritage for the Blind. I have already written the jingle. Call 1-800-GO-GREEN now. Today, give us your car, boat, RV, and jet, and we will give you a tax-deductible voucher or a token Bitcoin. I have many ideas. For example, this technology can be used to replace the nuclear reactors in the naval subs and ships. We can create a whole new class of weapon systems for the armed services. Excuse me. Drones with endless range, armed with new laser weapon systems. Moving forward with this technology is very important because there is about to be a rush of competition to see who starts who starts to use it first, as this is what I will get done one way or another. The bottom line is we have literally a billion things to convert on this planet, as we can convert every piece of machinery in the entire world, all while creating millions of jobs in the process. I'm ready to get started as soon as possible. I know for a fact that the U.S. Patent Office will not let anyone patent any device that is claimed to be perpetual motion. See my friend's website, josephnewman.com. Therefore, I would either use some political help to securing a U.S. patent, or we will have to take this technology and patent it overseas. But for now, we can enter into contracts to protect my concepts. I have written President Trump about the Galt motor, even before he announced that he was running for office. I know for a fact that President Trump would be interested in all of my technology. We just have to show him that it is real. I have also applied at NQTEL, in-q-tel.org, organization. This is a front for the CIA. Check it out. They have not responded to me. I have a dream and a vision. I know that I have to work with a talk show again, as that is how I became so successful in the past. I have hosted over 1,200 talk shows. I have now already been in touch and with 7 talk shows just recently, even from prison. But in summary here, I have always wanted to work directly with you, as we seem to have a lot in common, and I really like your show. I also know that at this time you have the political capital to check out what I am saying and express your opinion to President Trump about my inventions, and or even express your opinion about any provable political prisoner, if you so desire. I want you to know that I would sincerely appreciate anything that you do for me. I was put into prison for the sole reason of stopping me from making these products and teaching my concepts. I have gotten a lot done for a person who is kept in a cage. Getting a working picture of the Galt on YouTube was not an easy thing to have done. I also know for a fact that moving forward and manufacturing my 7 energy devices is going to make a lot of people very happy, and some very unhappy. I also know that being the person who has now found the replacement for penicillin, the cure for the common cold, let alone a new cure for cancer and AIDS, could also make me very popular and unpopular. Some people just don't like competition or a good joke. Therefore, at this time, the overall safest place is to be on the ball. We need to get our concepts in place and secure in the world so that this technology can no longer be buried by the powers to be. I have the invention of getting all this done, one way or another, as nobody is going to be able to stop me, even if I rot here as an innocent man in prison. I would now be happy to even communicate with anybody that represents your organization. I also want to thank you for the great show that you have put together, and I would like to congratulate you for being on the right side of history. So overall, I'm asking you if you would check out what I claim here and maybe work with me and help us give these energy devices to the world. This really is an opportunity for us to really change the world for the better. I'm totally serious about taking these concepts and laying claim to the phony global warming agenda. It will be ours if you will help me in this adventure. Please respond and let me know if you have any interest in any of the concepts, or if you would now like to be the real John Galt. I present this letter with complete admiration and respect, your friend and admirer, David Rowland Hinkson. So I refer to David Hinkson as America's most provably innocent political prisoner because the only reason he's in prison today is on the lying testimony of Elvin Joe Swisher. There is zero, nada, nothing, no other corroborating evidence other than the testimony of Elvin Joe Swisher. And so to prove that Elvin Joe Swisher is a liar is the easiest thing for anybody to do. It's already been done in a court of law. So I do pray that if somebody can get this to Sean Hannity, that Sean Hannity will listen to this. I'm going to take this letter and put it on David Hinkson's webpage called David Hinkson's open letter to Sean Hannity, and it'll be on Year of Jubilee. Jubilee spelled with one E, just like it is in the King James Bible. Thank you for your time.